Today we're talking about where, when, and how to read. This might sound like a silly topic. You just read, right? What difference does it make where you do it or when you do it? But the environment in which you read and the habits you use while reading can make a big difference to your experience. Here are some tips in finding the best strategies for yourself and your reading needs. The subtitle for this presentation was Setting Yourself Up for Reading Success. But what does that mean? You're a successful reader when you're able to get information from the text and then use it the way you want to use it. Sometimes that means just enjoying a comic book or a blog post without having to do much else with it. You just read it and move on. Sometimes, though, that means being able to remember a book weeks after you finish it to take a test or write an essay. Our needs for each text are dependent upon our purpose for reading them and how we're going to use what we've learned later. In general, we'll know we are successful readers when we have comprehension, which means we can understand what we read. We can remember it later. We're able to read fluently without having to stop and start over and over again. We can concentrate and keep our mind on the topic. And we can draw connections between the text, other things we've read, and our own experiences. Your success as a reader is unfortunately not entirely up to you. Sometimes texts are just hard to read. Maybe they've been written with a lot of dense jargon and words you don't understand yet. Maybe the author used lots of long, complicated sentences. Maybe it's written in a language that you don't speak fluently. All of these things can make it difficult to get what you want out of a text, and there are strategies, usually involving note taking and preparation work, to overcome those barriers. But that's not what we're talking about today. Today, we're talking about what you can control. These are things that impact the success of your reading that have nothing to do with the book and everything to do with you. These are things like the location, the background noise, and your own comfort level. Set yourself up for success by making sure you're reading in a way that's going to get you the best results, no matter how hard the book is. When it comes to where to read, I can't give you a magic answer about the best place. It's individual, and you have to find your own best place, and it probably isn't the same for every text. If I want to read the latest mystery from my favorite author, I can read it almost anywhere outside, inside, in a hammock, on the beach, standing in line at the post office. This book is so good that I'm so engaged in it, I can block out distractions no matter where I am and still get what I need from it. But if I'm reading a dense textbook to prepare for a chemistry test, or I'm working through a work of Shakespeare to write an essay, the where starts to matter a lot more. In those cases, I know that I like to be somewhere where I can sit, not lie down, comfortably, with access to a notebook and the ability to write on a hard surface. So I usually read inside when I have to read something that I know I'm going to need to use later. But that's not the only way to do it. Some people read better outside. Some people like lots of bright light, while others like a dim room with a book light. Some people read well snuggled up in a blanket fort, while others have to be at a desk. You'll need to experiment to find out the best where for you. When it comes to the when of reading, you might be a night owl who retains information best after dark. Maybe you're an early bird who likes to soak up literature with the sunrise. Again, this is going to take some experimenting, and it's going to be different for everyone. But no matter what time of day it is, most people read best when they're taking care of their basic needs. If you're hungry, thirsty, or tired, you're going to have a hard time getting what you need out of a text. Set yourself up for success by reading when you've taken care of your most basic requirements to be a happy, healthy human. These needs extend to the mental as well as the physical. If you're restless, anxious, frustrated, or just unfocused, reading is going to be harder. Set yourself up for success by reading when you're in a good headspace. Some strategies for that might be reading after you've spent some time outside or exercising. Next up is the how of reading. Yes, yes, you already know how to read, but there are so many ways to read, and experimenting with them may help you unlock your own best methods. Some things to try include listening to audiobooks, maybe even while reading along with the physical text, taking notes in your book or on a notebook as you read. Try reading out loud. Also, experiment with the settings if you're reading an ebook. Change the size of the font. If you're reading an audiobook, slow it down or speed it up. Definitely take advantage of the technology we have today to make reading a much more personalized experience. All of these strategies give you different cognitive connections to your text. To put it another way, you provide your brain with more ways in, and sometimes you can find the path that unlocks a text that was too difficult to understand. You start to understand more because you've given your brain a different way to think about it. I want to end by telling you that reading is a lifelong pursuit. Reading is going to be part of your life forever. It's not something you figure out once and then can just check off your list. Your reading habits will change over time, but getting comfortable with experimentation and learning more about yourself and how you respond to different reading situations will serve you well, not just now, but in the future.